Okay, so on this question, they're telling us a population of bacteria is growing according to the equation they give us here. Estimate when the population will exceed 2416. Okay, so how do we do this? Well, let me bring this equation down, write it down here. So P of T equals 550 e to the 0.2 t. Okay, so there's an equation which predicts the population at various times. Okay, so they're saying, when's it going to be 2416? So you just grab that 2416 and you just make all of this become 2416. Right, because that's what they're saying. You want the population to be 2416. So they're saying, so basically I'm going to plug in 2416. Let me write that. Right, what I'm doing here. We're going to plug in 2416 for P of T, then solve for T. You tracking with me? So I plugged in 2416 or whatever your number is on the left side, and then we're going to solve this equation for T. Solve for T. That's what they asked right here. Here it says T equals what? Like what time? When will the population become 2416? What T could you plug in here to make this come out 2416? That's what they're asking. Well, that's a tough question. You see the problem? Before I tell you the steps to solve it, let me help you to appreciate the difficulty of this question. Like, how in the world are we going to get T alone? That's what they're saying, right? T's saying, I want to be alone. Get rid of this 550. Get rid of this weird E thing, whatever that is. And get rid of this 0.2 so that I can be alone. That's what we're charged to do right now. That's what we have to do. All right, well, let's start. So it's like peeling an onion. Start in the, it'll make you cry. No, I don't mean that part of it. I mean, starting on the outer layers and work your way down to the center. So I'm going to get rid of this 550 first and kind of work my way down to the T. That makes sense? Layer by layer. So let's get rid of this 550 first. How do you get rid of that 550? Should I subtract 550? You can tell by my tone, no. Why not? What do you do? Divide, because that 550 is times, right? So we got to divide, right? It's not added. We can't subtract it. It's times, so we divide it. So divide both sides by 550. And it's gone. We're getting a little closer. And then just use your calculator on that other side. Divide 2416 over 550 and see what you get. All right, so I'm going to do that, and I'm getting 4.392727. Now, you might wonder, how many decimals? Well, just write down like 5 or 6 for now. And I know they say right here in the end, they say 1 decimal place, but that's at the end. So along the way, you got to do a little bit more. I mean, I'm probably doing overkill. 5 or 6 is fine. All right, we good to there so far? Now, here comes the big step, which you've probably never done before. How do we get rid of this E? We got to get rid of that E, right? That's the next layer. Trying to work our way down to the T to get the T alone. How do we lose an E? Well, what you got to do in math, as you go higher and higher in math and science, when you solve things like this, you've always got to use what's called the inverse function. That's right. We did inverse functions last time. That's right. You're familiar with those. Inverse function. But you probably don't know what the inverse function of E is. Might not have ever seen the E before. It stands for exponential. It's anyway, whatever. The opposite is natural log. The opposite is natural. Let me write that for you, and then we'll do it. So the opposite. I can write that a little better with my Apple Pencil here. Opposite of E to the X is ln. It stands for natural log. They put the word backwards. It's a French word. You know how the Romantic languages write things backwards? They'll say the dog blew, like, I mean, Spanish or French, They put the adjectives after the noun. Probably don't care about all that. Anyway, this ln, it's logarithmic natural. It's natural log. All right, so anyway, ln, that's what we do. We do ln here, and we do ln there. So you ln both sides. And what happens? These cancel out. It's like magic. And you get 0.2t. Now, on the other side, you're going to have to hit the buttons on your calculator. Does that make sense? Remember, whenever I do something to one side of an equation, I have no choice but to do the same thing to the other, right? You got to do the same thing to both sides. If two things are equal before and you treat them the same, they're going to be equal afterwards, aren't they? I do ln on both sides because that cancels out the e. It's the opposite of the e. And so on the other side, just hit the button on your calculator. Hit ln of that number. And here's what I'm getting. When I do that, I'm getting 1.47995. That's plenty of digits right there. Now, there's only one more step to finish getting t alone. And the last step is just to divide, isn't it? So now we just divide by, divide by box. 0.2, like that, boom, boom. And so once you get rid of that e, it's a lot better. And the final answer, I'm getting 7.39975. And so they asked me to round to one decimal place. So the answer is going to be 7.4. Right? You remember rounding? Remember how rounding works? Right? Whenever you want to round something, you stop right there. This 9 tells me to round that up to 4. And round to one decimal place, 7.4. So again then, so you solve for t, and the major, you just get t alone, you just get rid of everything. And the main hard step is to get rid of the e. What do you do to get rid of an e? ln. It's the opposite. It cancels it out. You do it on both sides, and it goes away. The e goes away right there. And so there we go.